Yes, Bisi Adegbuyi joins us now. He's a legal practitioner. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Good morning.
Well, Senator, you really did say a lot about this conference and those categories of criticisms, but that notwithstanding, I mean, there are people who've got genuine views about this conference. What do you think so far? I mean, ever since the modalities are out, you have people who have digested it, they've got views. What's yours?
Well, I think the composition is broad-based. It's quite representative of the critical stakeholders. Talking personally, I would have preferred more representation for ethnic nationality groups. We have 15 delegates per ethnic nationality, and we have 6 for purposes of administration. Again, one slot for Nigerian Bar Association, in my view, is inadequate, because these are people that have special training for matters touching, concerning constitution making. And by way of analogy, 1787 Philadelphia Convention that brought prosperity to America, half of the delegates were lawyers. One is not saying this because I'm a lawyer, but I think that they should have more representation. However, we may be lucky that some other delegates that will be appointed by stakeholders, state governments, what have you, you may be lucky to have lawyers there.
But did you hear his comments when he says, look, this is a political one. Decisions there will be political and such. We shouldn't run away with the impression that it's a conference which is supposed to be largely represented or have a larger representation by lawyers.
Well, there's merit in this argument that it will be largely a political conference where political decisions will be reached. And therefore, you need lawyers to codify the decisions by having a constitution drafting committee. I quite, agree with that. But it would have been better to have lawyers as delegates who would brainstorm and come up with political decisions that lawyers would put together in form of a draft constitution. Well, you wouldn't have any perfect situation. There's no modality you come up with that critical stakeholders won't tell you, oh, this is inadequate. No, you should have done it this way. In my view, constitution making is work in progress. You're not likely to achieve everything in one fell swoop. Nation building is also an adult task that you achieve over a period of time. It's not going to happen in one day anyway.
Do you? Anyway, I'm sure you heard him. Sorry, there, Mark, but you heard his argument, which actually punctured some of your argument, and those who are also clamored for ethnic and nationality-based conference. He said, well, we don't even know how many we are, let alone coming together based on ethnicity. So he felt that we should just do away with that so that we don't get trapped in an endless count of what number of ethnic groups we do have.
Some people who are experts in this area have done extensive study. I mean, I can tell you, Mr. Alfred Nlere, it's a walking encyclopedia of ethnic nationality groups in Nigeria. He worked very closely with the late Chief Anthony Enauro. And at the conference we had, the Prt1 conference, they were fairly represented. And in our draft constitution, we actually listed the ethnic nationality groups we have in Nigeria, ranging between 250 to 300. Well, all of them, all the ethnic nationality groups may not be fully represented. But because we have 6 geopolitical zones, the ethnic nationality groups are divided, amongst the 6 geopolitical zones. And you also have sub-ethnic nationality groups. That's the beauty of Nigeria. It's such a diverse nation. And therefore, the challenge for us is to get a constitution that would build on this diversity, and let's forge, a very strong union. It's been done elsewhere, and we can do it. India, for instance, shares so many similarities with Nigeria, and they are working on their fault lines. Evidently, there are fault lines in Nigeria: ethnic distrust, mistrust, as Senator Kuromo rightly observed. There are people who believe that you have this paternalistic political arrangement in Nigeria that favors some part of Nigeria at the expense of others. These are issues that they should discuss at the conference. But the challenge is how to get delegates who understand the dynamics, people who know Nigeria, people who will be patriotic, and then think out of the box, come up with political arrangement that will ensure that we live harmoniously. Because it is not just unity. I mean, my hero, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, once said that Nigeria requires harmonious unity amongst the ethnic nationality groups. Again, why do you always talk about ethnic nationality groups? These were the critical stakeholders that were cobbled together, albeit involuntarily, by the colonial overlords. It is simple law of contracts that parties to a contract are critical when you want to resolve disputes touching and concerning that contract.
Even when they say the indivisibility, I mean, dividing Nigeria, discussing that is non-negotiable. You can't go...
I don't have any problem with that, because I don't want Nigeria to break. And I also believe that majority of the people, as you rightly observed, the memoranda they submitted, people don't want Nigeria to break, provided the terms upon which we live together are fair, just, equitable, and they are such that would guarantee the welfare of the people. An average Russian will tell you now that his life is better as a Russian as opposed to when he was under USSR, as the case may be. But for me, when you benefit from an association, you want to ensure that the association does not break. But if your wishes and aspirations are not met, then you become centrifugal.